Today on Through the Numbers, we are going to be going over our top 5 best bets for the NFL Week 5. We're going to be going head-to-head this week, trying something new, trying something different. Basically, whoever out of our 5 picks, whoever has the best record, becomes the week champion. Gets to lot it over the other in the next week. As well as we've made a friendly wager on this as well. And in the event of a tie, it's more about who makes the most money. So the odds will be factored into these 5 picks. But without further ado, it's me, Rye Guy here. I'm here with Ian.
What's up, everybody?
We're gonna try this out. We're gonna try the head-to-head, and we don't always want to make this a friendly wager thing. In the future, we want to do it whoever is the loser of the week sort of has to do a punishment. So anyone watching, anyone getting those comments, give us your ideas for what we could do as punishments for whoever's the loser, and so whoever wins essentially gets immunity that week. And we'll either put that up here on YouTube or maybe use that as a cold open to the episode. Or if you follow us on Instagram, could be something we throw up on Instagram too. We'll figure out that later as we go along, as this sort of thing builds. But yeah, just keep that in mind. For now, let's get into the picks. Ian, I'm gonna let you go first. What is your first best bet of week 5?
All right, man. My first best bet of week 5 here. We are going off to jolly old England on Sunday morning for the Jets versus the Vikings. I like the Jets to get back after the spot they were in last week, embarrassingly losing to Denver. I've got a fact here that teams who scored in single digits and are attracting less than 30% of the betting tickets, which is the case with the Jets right now, they do often bounce back the next week and cover the spread at 61% of the time. In fact, this actually worked for the Buccaneers last week. Something I also think is that the Vikings are actually a very familiar opponent for Rodgers. You know, he spent all those years in Green Bay, so he did play them twice a year. A lot of the current regime he did get to play against too. Something I will add in here, I'm not too concerned about it, but historically the betting favorite has won in the London games. But that's kind of the thing with these London games, man, is like you kind of can throw a lot of stuff away. Like so many factors and systems just get thrown out the window and are not usable in a situation like this. So give me Rodgers and the experience going against one of the old teams he used to play against twice a year at 2.5. You know, and just another thing, like the Vikings, as great as they've looked, and, you know, I think they're going to continue to roll. I don't think this is just beginner's luck here. You don't win them all, and, you know, eventually they are going to lose a game. And this just might be one of those scheduled losses for them. So give me the Jets with the points this week.
All right. I will say that I also bet this for sort of the similar reason, mainly because, you know, a lot of the money is on the Jets this week from what I saw. So that really intrigued me for that matchup there too. So, but I will admit, I am afraid to fade the Vikings after how terribly last week went. So I'm not gonna bet the Vikings or the Jets as my first best bet. My first best bet, which I'll go head to head with you with, is Aaron Jones of the Minnesota Vikings over 63.5 rushing yards. So Aaron Jones has exceeded 63.5 rushing yards in 8 of his last 9 games. Over that time, he has averaged 100.6 rushing yards per game. So 89% hit rate in his last 9 games. And then just kind of the cherry on top of that, why I'm taking it, is the Jets defense is currently bottom 10 against the run. We've seen a couple guys run all over them so far. So, and Aaron Jones has been impressive to start the season. So
Yep, surprisingly.
Despite how bad my picks went last week, I'm confident with this one. So I'm going with Aaron Jones over 63.5 rush yards as my first best bet.
I
Ian,
like
we'll
it,
go
man.
back to you. What is your second best bet of week 5?
My second best bet of the week is we are going to my favorite team, the Bengals, and their game versus the Ravens this week. And this is not the pick, but you and I talked about it this week. It's Ravens minus 2.5. How kind of them to give us a number like that. Like, what's going on with that one? I don't think that the number should be that low. I think it should be up to more like 3.5, 4. Just with how abysmal the Bengals defenses looked and how good the Ravens looked last Sunday against the Bills, who were just blowing the doors off everybody before that game. So yeah, a little questionable about that line there, but that is why we're not betting that spread this week, and instead we are going to bet the total. We are taking over 49.5 points in this game. It's come down a little bit. I think it opened at 51.5 maybe, or even 51.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But anyway, like as pitiful as the Bengals defense has already been this season, like it might even be worse, and they could just be rolling out an absolute shell of it because Hendrickson, Sheldon Rankins, and BJ Hill right now all are questionable. So that's like 3 out of the main D line right there. And I think if that D line is decimated, King Henry's just going to absolutely feast. We saw how he looked against Buffalo and how explosive after kind of a quiet week 1. He's looked really good, so I think that's just going to be terrible for the Bengals, but good for us in scoring. Another thing about this is both the Bengals and the Ravens are top 10 in red zone efficiency, third down conversions, and yards per play. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson have both been playing well so far. Lamar's stats aren't going crazy, but Joe Burrow, if it weren't for the defense, he's actually playing really well. His last 3 games, he's got 7 touchdowns and only 1 turnover. So the defense is putting up the numbers. In their last 2 games, they put up over 30 points. So yeah, give me the over in this one. I like the fact that it's gotten below 50 now, and I think we're getting some great value on it at 49.5.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you there. I haven't bet that yet, but I might be with you there. And I would add to your point in saying that not only has Burrows looked good in the last couple of weeks, but the Ravens' pass defense has been bad so far this season. So
yeah, their defense has actually not been great. After what an exceptional year they had last year, it's been kind of weird to see. I mean, they did lose some pieces, mind you.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to my next best bet, and I'm going to go to a different game for this one. I'm going to go to the Browns versus the Washington Commanders. What a stinker of a game. Will not watch this game whatsoever. But I will say this, Jaden Daniels is playing the first tough defense that he's played in his short career. I still don't want to fade him because I still think he's pretty good, and he could maybe Washington could win. I don't really know where to go with the side on this one. I lean Browns, but that's not where I'm going with this. What I'm going with is Terry McLaurin under 55.5 receiving yards at minus 110. McLaurin has failed to exceed 55.5 receiving yards in 5 of his last 6 games versus top 10 defenses. So in those games, he's averaging around 45.5 receiving yards. And the Browns defense are ranked top 10 against the pass right now. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup for Daniels, and I think it's going to be a tough matchup for McLaurin. So yeah, give me the under on that.
Okay.
And we'll
yeah,
move on to you for your third best bet. What do you got for us?
All right, number 3 this week is we're going to be taking the Buffalo Bills money line. Look, I know Buffalo got their asses absolutely kicked by Baltimore last Sunday in primetime too, which is never fun when you're on that side. But I think they're going to come back in this one against a Houston team. Houston has quietly kind of been struggling a bit this year, especially from what they were seeing last year. CJ Stroud is kind of seeing a sophomore slump, and I think just this is naturally, man, and this is going to happen with Jaden Daniels. Last year CJ was the hot new thing, and this year so far it's Jaden Daniels. But eventually, once there's more film on you, people have played you. Like teams will start to figure you out a little bit, and I think defensive coordinators have started to figure out CJ Stroud. Just the deep throws are not really there for what they were last year. And he's just not really kind of like pushing the ball downfield like we saw him do in his rookie year. And you just kind of see that in the wins. They're grinding out closer victories instead of having these big and flashy highlight reel wins. Not to say like Nico Collins has really been a highlight reel so far this year. But the thing I will say about the Bills, they were rolling before that, but they were beaten up on mostly bad defenses. And not to say that Houston is a bad defense, but they are, kind of struggling this year, particularly in the red zone. But one of the reasons I like the Bills is because they are actually third in red zone efficiency in the league, where that's the Texans have really struggled a little bit. And also the Bills defense struggles against the run more so than the pass. That's why they struggled with a run-heavy Baltimore last week. But against the pass, they're sixth in defensive DVOA. And we know that's mainly how Houston's going to attack is through the pass. So, I know it's a close one this week. So give me the Bills money line. And I think Josh Allen's going to come back with a vengeance.
I like it. And I'm not going to put it all. We talked about it before the show. I'm not going to put that as one of my best bets as well.
Okay.
I am going to go in a different direction. But just to add on to why I like that pick as well, the Buffalo Bills are 8-1 in their last 9 games as a favorite.
Ooh.
So, yeah, minus 108 as a favorite money line. I like that a lot. So, I'll probably bet that as well. But for my best bet, I will stay in this game. I'm going to go Josh Allen under 275 pass plus rush yards. This is minus 115. Allen failed to exceed this number in 4 of his last 5 starts. He also is under in 8 of his last 10. The Texans' defense are top 5 against the pass right now and 13th best against the run. So I think he only has gone over this number against Jacksonville. And it surprised me because I would have thought he went over in that game against Arizona.
Yeah.
So like you kind of said, they haven't really played any great teams yet, aside from, the Ravens haven't been great this season yet, but, that's really the only good team they played. And they struggled against that team, especially offensively. And I would say Texans are maybe middle of the pack, so it still might be a tough matchup. Maybe too tough for him to go over this number. So, I'm gonna fade him on this one. I think it'll be a sweat. I think he might get close to it, but I'm looking for him to go under, and that's gonna be my best bet is Josh Allen under 271.5 pass plus rush yards. So Ian, give us your, what are we on? 4th now? Is that 3? 3 each?
Number 4, yep.
All right, give us your 4th.
All right, so my 4th and 5th are going to be in the same game here, but I'll give you the first one of them is the Raiders to cover the spread plus it's plus 2.5 right now. I was able to get it at plus 3. Shop around a little bit, you might still be able to get that number, and if you can, I would absolutely lock it in. 2.5 is still great, but if you see the 3, like that's awesome. So the Raiders in their last 8 games are 6-2 against the spread, which I'm not sure if that exactly correlates to when he started, but I'm going to credit quite a bit of that to Antonio Pierce, the coach, and the effect that he's had there since starting and taking over. The Broncos have led the league in 3 and outs, and their offense, I know they won last week against the Jets. They look like shit. It's almost laughable, like how they look at times. Now, something to keep in mind with the Raiders is that Devontae Adams is for sure out, and Crosby is still questionable. I think Crosby is going to try to play, but right now he's still questionable. But Devontae Adams, I know you think Devontae Adams being out, like that's such a major offensive weapon, like that's got to hurt their chances to win. I'm honestly kind of getting the feeling that him being around the team in the locker room was just so much bad energy that maybe him being away is going to clear the room a little bit and maybe make things a bit smoother, run a bit better there. And also things to think about is Vegas won both their games against Denver last year, therefore covering the 2.5 spread. And just divisional underdogs are a profitable trend, I think around like 55% or so. And on the contrary to that, small home divisional faves win at only 44%. So for my fourth best bet and the first of 2 bets in this game, let's go with Raiders plus 2.5.
Okay. I'm still debating on another one. The only other you know which one I'm talking about. I just don't.
Yeah, we were talking
don't
about
want
it.
to bet on that team. I have been fading that team. I would like to continue fading that team. But before, I guess these are both in the same game, so I'll start with one from this game at least, and this one I will be betting. My next best bet is DK Metcalf over 23.5 for his longest reception, minus 115. He's over in 8 of his last 10. He's gone over 23.5 receiving yards in 13 of his last 16 home games, averaging 37 yards for his longest reception per game over that time. So that's an 81% hit rate in his last 16 home games.
It's a good sample size.
Yeah, so give me that. I'll take it. That'll be my. I mean, yeah, New York's not too great against the pass. I'm pretty sure I was on CeeDee Lamb's longest reception on that Thursday nighter, and that hit against them. So yeah, why not? Why not go with it again? Longest reception against the Giants for my best bet. So yeah, DK Metcalf over 23.5, longest reception. That's my best bet.
Guy looked amazing last game. I know they lost against the Lions, but like watching that game, like I always knew DK was great, man. But like I think he's like really kind of like just sniffing entering that kind of like Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase realm. I think like if he's not in that, then he's just like right below.
Yeah. I mean, but the one thing I will say is the Lions, for some reason, have made a lot of teams look good so far this year. I think they only blew out the one team in every other game. The teams have been scoring on them. Like, what did Baker, like, the Bucks went off against them, and then who'd they lose against? The Raiders, while the Raiders were super hurt. So
the Lions are 3-1, are they not?
Yeah, they lost to Tampa, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm saying Tampa, though, looked amazing in that game, but then they lost the next week to the Raiders or someone who was like super hurt.
Oh, it was Denver.
It was Denver. Yeah, they lost to fucking Denver. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, they lost to fucking Denver. So, I don't know what to think about that when a team looks good against the Lions right now. But, of course, I do love the Lions. Anyways.
Hell yeah.
That was my fourth. Give me your fifth and final.
My fifth and final. So we're going back, or rather we're staying within that Raiders-Broncos game. And we're going to take we went with an over for the Ravens and the Bengals. For this one, we are going to take the under. We're going to go under 36.5 points for this game. So since 2020, games that have a total set by the books of 37 or lower are 32, 12, and 1 for 73%. And it's just the thing, like when the total's that low, it's that low for a reason. Like the books really don't expect points to be put up in this game. The Broncos offense, as we talked about in the last, just nothing to believe in there, nothing to make you hopeful that they're going to find a way to put up points and be successful. But the Raiders are not looking all that great themselves either, particularly in the run. They're really struggling there. They're struggling with the rush. They're actually last in rushing EPA right now. And also just with the setting in Denver, high-scoring games there are rare just because of the altitude, especially earlier in the year too when guys aren't that well conditioned and used to kind of the football situation yet? Yeah. So 11 of the last 16 Broncos home games have gone under. And actually, since 2015, so almost 10 years, Broncos home game unders are 48, 29, and 1, which is 63%. That's enough for me. There's also usually a correlation between betting the underdog on the spread and betting the under in points. So yeah, let's take that to go along with our Raiders plus 2.5. You could parlay it if you want to. I'm personally suggesting these as separate bets, but hey, it's your money. You do what you want.
All right. Well, for my last and final bet, since I can't find the other player prop I want on any books right now other than underdog, and not everyone has access to DFS, I'm going to stick within that Giants Seahawks game, unfortunately. And this is just something I can't ignore. I'm going to take the Giants plus 6.5, minus 106 on FanDuel, I think, right now. The New York Giants, get this, are 8-3 against the spread in their last 11 games as an underdog. So that's a 73% hit rate.
Well, they got gifted one last week by Brandon Aubrey missing that kick.
They did. And you know what? I think Dallas is a better team than Seattle. I still think the Giants are really bad. I still don't like Daniel Jones. But I believe I said on an earlier show, I think this team got worse than it was last year. And you know what? I'm starting to think maybe that's not true. Because they do have a different dynamic to the offense with those two wide receivers. With Wan'Dale Robinson, I believe his name is. And of course with Malik Neighbors.
We should note that he is currently in concussion protocol. I expect he is going to clear it, but as of right now, there is a question mark on him.
Yeah, so if he doesn't play, this bet is probably cooked. But it's just, look, I know the Seahawks blew the doors off them the last time they played. But maybe this is a bit of a bounce back. Maybe the Giants will remember how badly they lost the last time they played them, and maybe they'll pull out a better effort here and at least keep it close. In no way, shape, or form expect them to win this game. But I think they can cover the 6.5 just because I don't think the Seahawks are amazing. But at home, they could play really well. For now, I'm just going to go with the trend, and I'm going to bet the Giants. Reluctantly, I'm going to acquiesce, and I'm going to bet the Giants plus 6.5 as my fifth and final best bet of the week. So, yeah, that's it. We're going to go head-to-head. Everybody in the comments, let us know whose side you're on. Are you tailing? Are you on Team Ian or are you on Team Rye Guy? And remember to let us know in the comments what we should do for punishments on the upcoming weeks. We'll let you know in the next episode. We'll preface the episode by letting you know who won when we do the recap, and we'll say, hey, and we've decided on this will be the punishment for the loser of the next week. Again, for this week, it's a friendly wager between the two of us. Who's going to come out with the best record and whose bets altogether combined are going to win the most money and produce the most profit. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, all that bullshit. And we'll see you in the next one, people.
Best of luck, guys. Let's get these wins.
All right. Peace.